So here's part two, okay? Well, I'd like to address the facts. Some people, the people who are going to say, well, you have a tendency to be harsh on the only people who feel like you. Well, my answer to that is, if Hitler is mad for a good reason, and he starts killing people, and he starts trying to take over the fucking world, I might not agree. I don't agree with him about, a fair amount of things. But, when there's a bunch of scum that were worse scum than he was, who got him started in the first place, these secret society Jews, these Masons, these gays and all this stuff, what am I, just because the guy that I don't agree with, that I don't like very much, frankly, was at odds with these people, magically they're my friends? No, they're all my enemies. Sometimes the enemy of your enemy isn't your friend. They're a bigger enemy than your fucking enemy. Anyway. So, yes, and it's the same thing, I try to warn women. I'm like, look, you are going to go down as a group of people that goes down as scum if you go with it. Don't forget the Milgram experiment. What was the Milgram experiment about? It's like, why are people fucking complicit with evil? And so they started zapping people. And the majority of people were okay with it. They didn't, zap this person, zap, they're like, stop, like zap him again, zap, he told me to do it, because you're a bunch of conformist scum. And these people saw that. And the elite saw the results and like, wait a second, the Milgram experiment and many, many others have shown us that people are pussies, they're submissive, they will bow down to our authoritarianism. They will bow down to our corporatism. They are okay with the merger between fascism, the government and big conglomerates and corporations. They're okay with that. What some people define as the true form of fascism is when the government merges together with corporations. And you saw that, to a certain degree in Nazi Germany, to a large degree, I would argue, where you see the corporations doing the will of the government. And, it's hard to tell who's doing who's well, really, because they're all kind of on the same philosophical level, and they're all working together, and they're just merged together. It's not like the government's regulating these corporations. They're working together, for advancements in science and technology and so on and so forth. And some people might argue that it was a successful political process, successful macroscopic political process, which includes many processes within the greater political process of this form of fascism. This corporate fucking scum, these plutocrat scum, who have just basically taken over and taken away your humanity. And the big corporations and the government, working together, advising each other about what to do and brainstorming together, basically decided what the average person should think, eat, how they should live, and so on and so forth. The freedom went out the window. That's one of the things I don't agree with Hitler about. I don't agree with this form of fascism, which he styled National Socialism. I don't agree with socialism when the way socialism has been applied in the countries that claim to be socialists. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with National Socialism on that level. I don't agree with this kind of I believe in pride in your race. I think he went too far. I don't agree with his version of history. I don't agree with exalting white people over other people. I don't, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a racist. I do have more admiration for some ethnic groups than others based on what they've done, but I would never go as far as to say that this group is genetically superior, which too many people do, more people than you think. I'd say more people than not believe that their ethnic group is superior in some genetic way, and eugenicists are basically a more dramatic version of what most people think anyway, though most people will never admit it. There's a very small percentage of people that will actually say it flat out, especially publicly, but there's a whole lot of people that think that, anyway, it's what happens when pride becomes arrogance and racism and so on. So, I try to warn women against it. I'm like, look, and I warn everybody against it. I warn black people against it. I warn everybody. It's like, don't be a conformist. Evil is truly making moves. If you are fucking a conformist in a time of evil, you cannot be spiritual. Materialism and conformity lead to evil. Materialism and conformity of this world are evil. obviously materialism is of this world, but conformity of this world. It's one thing to conform to God's expectations. You know, it's another thing to conform to the expectations of mankind, who are a bunch of evil fucking scum, corporate fucking fascist style trash. You know? And that's why they have fascists in government buildings. And that's a long story, what a fasci is in the first, what it symbolizes. You know, it's a bundle of sticks tied together. Fascism. The idea that you break one stick, but if you put them all together, it's hard to break. That idea, it seems harmless. It seems like, yeah, you know, that's logical. You know, two heads are better than one type of thing, right? The problem is when you get a bunch of scum working together and you can't break them, well, and they're taking everything over. They just roll over. It becomes like a fucking, instead of a bunch of sticks, it becomes like a tank tread, just rolling over everybody, you know? People just really don't understand how things work, man. You expect a bunch of Freemasons care about, a bunch of satanic Freemasons are going to ensure that your rights stay intact? I mean, are you fucking kidding me? These people are complete scum. They never cared about rights. They cared about doing it their way. You know, they want to define what you should be allowed to do, what is normal, etc., etc. These people were chased out of Europe, not particularly for what they believed, but actually for what they were doing. If they kept their beliefs to themselves, they would have been no threat to the people in power. Like, who cares if they're a bunch of witchcraft, doing witchcraft when no one's looking? But they have this plot, a bunch of gays recruiting people, a bunch of gays perverting attacking the moral fabric of the nation. The people in charge said, we can't allow that. We're a Christian nation. So they started cracking down on them. It wasn't necessarily what they believed. It was what they were doing, what they were plotting to do. And if you look at the French Revolution, what happened? Look at the French Revolution. You fucking idiots. And it's a celebrated like, oh, the American Revolution, this French Revolution. What was it? It wasn't just a rebellion against the money, the big money. Okay, that's always, they focus on that. Oh, don't look at anything else. Look at the rebellion against the big money. What else was it? It was a rebellion against Christian morality. That is why the Pilgrims and all the fucking bootlickers came to America. They were rebelling against the moral structures of society. A bunch of gays who didn't want to be told what to do. A bunch of sorcerer type fucking magic card bitches didn't want to be told what to do. A bunch of different Christian sects that didn't align with the Christian morality, who didn't want to be told what to do. And these Christians just happen to be the ones who end up allowing homosexuality in their churches and so on. If you truly understand how things worked, there were people starting Christian movements based on the philosophies of heathens, you know? And I hate to take sides with different Christians, but there's obviously some denominations are more sellouts than others. Some of them are complete fucking sick motherfuckers. Mormons, sick motherfuckers. Pedophiles, Freemasonic bullshit. Just a bunch of Freemasons started different churches and they're fucking scum. That's why I think Islam is the most viable option for spirituality, because I've seen too much Masonic bullshit in too many forms of Christianity. But that's a story for another day. See, what has happened in the French Revolution is they started cutting off the heads. They started executing. They started burning and destroying the crops and the land of everybody who saw things the same way as the church that was in charge. All the non-juring priests were executed. Not just the royal family. Not just, you know, it was more than just corrupt politicians. It was religious figures. These people, under the cloak of rebelling against corruption, included the religious authorities in the picture and said, if you don't see it our way and change your message, we are going to kill you. What happened is the oppressors got together with the poor and overthrew some of the other oppressors and a whole lot of good people at the same time. It was a satanic rebellion. They had some honest issues. They had some real issues with a real corruption. But then they attacked moral beacons of light, religious institutions that they had no business of attacking. And its history has shown us every time Christians are persecuted, they are always persecuted by scum. Never fails. When I say Christians, I mean real Christians. So what happened when Nero and Agrippa and the Ottoman Turks were persecuting Christians? They weren't supposed to do that. The Muslims weren't. If you read the Hadith, Muhammad says, leave the Christians alone. He says, don't take away their property. Don't execute them. They don't even have to fight war. Leave them alone. He said, hands off. So, and then you have these psychiatrists saying, oh, if anyone who reads the Hadith couldn't and believes it couldn't possibly be a psychologically fit person. I forgot this bitch's name, you know. It's like, fuck. It's Wafa Sultan, or Wafa Sultan, one of the two. Okay, Arab psychologist. You know, there's bootlickers from every race. Oh man, I'm gonna tell you like this. After studying history for 20 fucking years, I've come to the irreversible conviction that my moral indignation, my correct indignation, is a result of the most righteous in society being persecuted by the scum. Now, there's only one thing worse than oppressing and persecuting people who cannot help themselves. And that is persecuting and oppressing people who are righteous. Because Jesus could have helped himself, but he didn't. And he was the most righteous person that ever lived on this planet. And it was the most despicable thing man has ever done. You people don't understand. You just don't. You just don't. This country rebelled against the church, not just England. That's why there's a separation of church and state. And when they did that, did they magically transcend above the oppression of unscrupulous church leaders? Or did they sink below the moral standards that imperfect church officials were maintaining? They went down the gutter. Oh, what the fuck is it now?